Today I want to get into RM posting some shocking cool words on his story. I want to get into why people think RM and Somi have a relationship together, and then we need to talk about a Calvin Klein staff posting a picture of Jung Kook and it causing outrage. So hey dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab a dumpling, a tasting mug merch, and let's go. We need to talk about a photo that has been causing a bit of outrage online. This was very shocking to me and I really didn't notice until it was pointed out, and then I was like, oh my god, it might be true. So what happened? If you're not aware, Jung Kook recently became one of the ambassadors of Calvin Klein. This is a huge role, and I would imagine the Calvin Klein marketing team is fully aware that they are literally in charge of perpetuating a beauty standard. How many little boys and girls grew up looking at Calvin Klein ads and magazines to see what they quote-unquote need to look like? And now as ads have moved away from having people with abs, you can very easily start to see a tremendous amount of backlash from that, because people want to see attractive and non-normal looking people in the media. This sets a very odd precedent for those looking to find their own bodies and come to terms with their own bodies. Hiring Jung Kook as the ambassador is very interesting because it's one of the first few times we have someone that looks like how other Koreans and Asians look, and put them on top to say this look is okay. It's okay to have eyes, nose, and mouth and skin color as his because he is being looked at as super hot and desirable. It's giving hope to those little Asian boys that might have felt like they could never live up to a white or Western beauty standard because their eyes are not blue or they can't grow a beard, etc. But I was definitely more so hoping that Calvin Klein's marketing team was more so aware of this, and that this is the point of why Jung Kook was important to consider. To look at him being a part of the campaigns as just another person in fashion being in their campaign is not the right way to see it. The boys have literally had a meeting with Biden and met with the Korean president as ambassadors of Asians and of Korea. So they're not just celebrities that are just famous, they are a bit more political. Their existence and their career is so political. So of course in that case, them being in an ad needs to be treated as such. Now the photo I am talking about today is a side profile pic of Jung Kook and seemingly from Calvin Klein. However, I cannot find the original, so I don't know if they deleted it or it was fan edited, so take everything with a grain of salt. What I am saying in this video and even saying about Calvin Klein applies to any company or ad that would decide to do the same thing. So in Jung Kook's ad, many people felt like the photographer or editor edited Jung Kook's nose. You can see in the ad Jung Kook is giving a side profile and they upturned his nose. That doesn't appear to be like how his nose normally looks. This gives him a more Western nose. This caused a slight backlash online, and people wrote "not my Jung Kook's nose" as a hashtag, and people were upset that this was happening. Now if this indeed did happen, it's not great, as a lot of us are probably insecure about our nose, and this doesn't help. But even when Jung Kook is to see the ad, this isn't going to make him feel good, that even he can't live up to that standard of beauty and maybe feeling like he needs plastic surgery now, and that's never great. There's already such high standards for beauty in the world, let alone the standard in K-pop. While I think it's starting to become a bit trendy to look at plus size models or average looking bodies in media now, it is far from that in K-pop. The girls are overly skinny and dieting is still a thing that exists, and the audience of K-pop fans who only sit there and watch K-pop all day get so used to seeing those very thin body types that even if they are someone in the US, they don't necessarily see the US media. Thus, those haters will still sit there and mock any idol that fits into US standards and does not fit into what they see normally in K-pop. Since the BTS boys have tried so hard to fit into a bit of both, you are seeing boys start to work out a lot more. Then of course, they're also getting older, and so they need to remain in shape if they want to continue to do things like touring and making music. RM has been showing just how hard he has been trying to keep in that shape, if not better shape than he ever was. He has always been posting his workout routines onto his Instagram story, and it's always quite a bit. Definitely not too difficult to follow along, but it's always very impressive to just see how much he can do, because a lot of the fandom still sees him as this adorable little boy, and now he's that same adorable boy with a little bit of muscle, and not a boy anymore. He recently posted his new routine for the day, and if you are unaware about anything involving body training or working out, you have to constantly change your workout routine or your body gets used to the old routine, and basically you don't really get any bigger. RM posted that he is doing a high cable row, seated row, a one-arm dumbbell row, and a rope pushdown. These are very difficult things, and for him to be able to do it must mean that he has been training for a little bit. Armies were of course very impressed, and it seemed like he is doing the same type of routine that some people do in the army. So we also know that once he enlists, it won't be too hard for him to catch up and do what everyone else is doing. There is definitely a bit of concern involving if the boys do enlist a little bit later, would they be able to keep up? And since we are seeing them being able to do this type of routine when they are not even enlisted now, we can be sure that when they do enlist, it won't be a problem. RM has talked about working out in the past to say that he has to do it now, and it is no longer just something that is optional. When K-pop idols are younger, since men don't typically take their shirt off, they're just encouraged to be as thin as possible because they can market to a much younger audience. And then once that audience ages, so can the idol, and then they can start to appear more manly to the market, to the same audience. So not only is it great for his career, but also great for his health. People have also been very much wondering what RM has been up to and if he's creating a new album, whatever it might be. RM had just recently been on a live stream and he got bombarded with mean comments, which were definitely not so nice to see, and many people felt very bad. There's also been a few rumors that have come out, and people have a lot to say about this. So what are the rumors? Well, let me give some backstory here. The artist Somi, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, had a bit of a run-in with RM. Somi is a solo artist right now, and she's a part of a 11-member girl group that came from the competition show Produce 101. She is currently doing her own stuff and recently just had her own album. She hosted an album release / listening party. This was a private party where she invited just her friends and any idol she wanted to be a part of. There was some backlash that came out when her party footage was posted, and people were saying that K-pop idols don't know how to party and seem very dead, as in when the album was playing, no one was getting into it. I don't like this narrative because in the same vein, those idols who were partying it up, jumping around, or doing anything fun would receive backlash. Whatever most people consider to be partying behavior, like dancing provocatively, drugs, drinking, whatever, are things that they would get in trouble for. And let's be honest, in a crowd of K-pop idols, not a single one of them would be shy about dancing. They're not doing it because they don't want to get in trouble. Since the rumors spread that the party was boring, Somi decided to post some extra stuff from the party, and it seemed like people changed their mind about the party being boring once they saw the list of attendees. Apparently, people from Twice, 17, Big Bang, and others were invited, and people even peeped that RM was there. Somi showed a table full of Polaroid pictures, and we got to see all the members that were on the table. Of course, seeing RM sparked the question of how on earth does Somi and RM know each other? Well, this was asked very quickly in one of Somi's recent interviews, and she answered that she met during a party that G-Dragon hosted and had invited RM. The party was a Nike event, and both Somi and RM were there. They got to quickly networking and must have kept in touch. It's very important for this exact reason for anyone working in entertainment, especially, to make an effort to attend events and meet people, because Somi getting to meet RM isn't something that the label even did. It was something that she had to go out of her own way to make sure to speak to RM. But then rumors started to circulate that RM and Somi were dating, and since the Nike event happened sometime in April, then they must have been dating for like 5 or 6 months now. And I definitely think this is a very interesting rumor because the two have just been friends, but now people think that they are together based on RM just being at Somi's listening party. It's very odd because obviously RM is allowed, or should be allowed, to have fun at parties and have friends to go to parties with. RM and other K-pop idols will be called losers if they didn't have friends, but then when they do, it happens to be a girl. They're shamed or accused of dating. And Somi is absolutely stunning and such a nice person. But if you claim that every person RM is with he is dating, then it makes it sound like he does not choose a partner carefully. He just dates whoever we see him next to, not considering things like, do they have things in common and are they compatible romantically? And that makes no sense to just assume. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.